Okay, Math 85ers, this is Chapter 3. We're going to Chapter 3. This is Section 3.1, Introduction to Integers. So, we did the whole numbers. I know we did the whole numbers, but did we do integers yet? So, what are the integers? They are all of the positive numbers and all of the negative numbers. So we say the set of integers, all the positive numbers and all the negative numbers in one big set. So remember, dot, dot, dot means goes on forever. So here's the integers. And to the right, I've got my positives, and they go on forever and ever and ever. To the left of 0, anything less than 0 is negative. So it's going to be smaller than 0, and they keep going on and on and on to the left. So to the right, let me write that on here, I've got my positives. So here's my positive integers. And to the left, I've got my negative integers. And 0 is neither positive nor negative. When would I use a negative number or integer? Well, there's a couple, I can think of a couple cases. So let's say I was talking about temperature. Let's say it's going to get cold out pretty soon, not now, but a couple months from now, and let's say the temperature is 45 degrees below 0. Okay, so if I didn't want to write this out, I would rather, it'd be easier for me to write that with a negative number. So how would I write 45 degrees below 0? We would write negative 45 degrees. And we know that that's below 0, really, really cold. So temperature is one thing I can use negative numbers for. If we're talking about above and below sea level, let's say if we're going underground in the water and it's 20 feet below sea level, we could write negative 20 feet. And when we're talking about above sea level and below sea level, negative 20 is below sea level. Sea level is like our 0, right? At sea level is at 0, and anything below sea level would be negative. Anything above sea level would be positive. So there's two things. We could also talk about money. And there's some other examples on page 104 if you want to look at some other examples. So is that okay so far? If that's okay, I'm going to move to the number line. And let's write out the number line and show, I wrote the set out here of integers, but what does it look like on a number line? So I'm going to take this set and put it on a number line. Okay. So, whoops. Here is the number line. I'm going to put a 0, and I know to the right are my positives, and I know, sorry about that, to the left are my negatives. Okay, so what's happening as I am going toward or towards the right? Am I getting bigger? Are the numbers getting bigger, or am I getting smaller? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. I'm getting bigger. So as I go to the right, my numbers are getting bigger. Now remember, anything below 0 is less than 0, so it's small. So as I'm going toward the left, I'm going -5, -6, -10, -100. Am I getting bigger or smaller? Well, anything smaller than 0 or less than 0 is smaller. So we're getting smaller as we go to the left. So, as I'm looking at these numbers, -5 is smaller than -4. -5 is here, -4 is here. The bigger number means it's getting smaller. So it's the opposite of this side. Or some people that have taken my class before have said that the closer it is to 0, the bigger it is. So -4 is bigger, so, or is closer to 0, so it's bigger. So if you want to use that, the closer the number it is to 0, the bigger. Or you can think about going away toward the left, it keeps getting smaller. Let me underline those. So let's look at two integers. And remember, less than and greater than, and we're going to put those in the box to make the statement true. Okay, so let's say I had -2 is negative 2 less than, this is less than, and this is greater than. Is negative 2 less than or greater than negative 7? Well, we can look back on the number line, and we can see negative 2 is closer to 0, and negative 7 is down here off the page. So negative 2, we can say, is greater than negative 7. So negative 2 is greater than negative 7. Let's do another one like that. Is, let's see, negative 4, is that less than or equal to negative 1? Is negative 4 bigger than negative 1 or smaller than negative 1? So let's look at where negative 4 and negative 1 are on the number line, if that helps you. If you already know, you don't need to do this. If you don't, it's up to you. So negative 1 is here, that's closer to 0. And negative 4 is here, it's further away from 0. So what would you say? Is negative 1 less than negative 4 or greater than negative 4? So I would say negative 4, since it's moving away from 0 and negative 1 is closer, I would say negative 4 is less than 0. So this is less than, this is greater than. So as the numbers on the negative side get bigger, they're actually getting smaller. And the closer they are to 0, the bigger they are. I am going to stop there and continue on with the second part of 3.1.